Everybody with Sundae Sauce. I'm Travis George, and you're watching Inside Scoop, a show where we take a deep dive into some music and ice cream. Today we got New York vocalist Jack Lizard joining us today. You catch his music on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. You catch him at Elsewhere on August 15th. Jack, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Travis. How's it going, man?
Good. All right, so what we got going on here? What flavors you working with?
Yeah, these are actually some really fire flavors, man. This is sorrel sorbet, and that is soursop ice cream. So these are some true West Indian inspired flavors right here, which makes me really happy because I got a lot of people close to me in my life that have really put me on to a lot of like really awesome just like aspects of West Indian cuisine and drinks and et cetera, that I would have never known about if it weren't for them. So being in a place like this, Island Pops, New York, is a good spot right now. They got the flavor. For real.
I don't even need to plug them now. Thank you. Are you ready to get started, bro?
I'm ready.
So one thing we got in common is that we both grew up on Long Island.
That's true.
In the same town of Huntington.
Yeah, man.
You went to Cold Spring Harbor High School.
I did.
Can you give the people who don't know the best detailed description of what a cold cheese slice is?
The best thing to eat at 3 a.m. when you got nowhere else to be, man. So there's a spot in Huntington called Little Vincent's Pizza, and their specialty is really, it's like nothing that crazy. It's just like they literally hand you like a Pepsi cup of their like shredded mozzarella, and you just are supposed to put that on top of the already cheese slice.
Yeah.
So it's double to triple the cheese action, I would describe it as, and it's great. It's fire.
Yeah, it's already a hot slice too. Like that's the other thing too. People like always assume that it's like, oh, it's like a cold slice, and that's disgusting.
No,
it's a hot slice that you get cold cheese to put on the hot slice.
It's true. It's so simple, but not many people thought of it, obviously. That's why it makes some Lil V's so unique, I guess.
Growing up on Long Island,
yes.
One of the biggest things going on Long Island is lacrosse.
Yeah.
And it's heavily pushed. Like, I played baseball. I kind of understand where that comes from.
Sure.
With like just the competition between lacrosse and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to know is, was there ever a time where you felt like you had to convince people to like really believe in the arts growing up, like growing up in high school, or like was there like convincing that needed to be done, whether it be like from classmates or it be maybe from like an administrator to be like, we need more funding or something like that?
Yeah, all the time. What I usually say is like, just to give you a picture of like what my high school and like upbringing in that school was like I was arguably the only person doing what I was doing, and that's not to say I was on some hot shit. It's to say how devoid of culture that place was, because I was the only one that like wanted to play music or be in plays or any of that. So
it's also a small school.
It's really small, so you already were like kind of shit out of luck. But it was like, I just think that like my specific grade that I was in was like particularly just not into it, not about what I was about. Right. And that's fine. Yeah. But I like kind of decided that I had to be an advocate for myself and like anybody else in the future. So yeah, I made it very clear like what I was into, and I would perform like at the entrance of the school to advertise for things, and I would like write letters to the administrators, and I would even I had a couple meetings with like the superintendent, and I was like basically like, I forget her name, good things I don't blast her completely, like, but like I basically was like calling her out on this bullshit. I was like, I think my line that I was real proud of was, I was like, honestly, I think like a lacrosse helmet gets more funding than like a whole show at this school. And she was like, I don't think that's true. And I was like, well, that's not the point if it's not completely factual. Like, you get the idea.
All right, with one more Long Island question. So you grew up in Cold Spring Harbor. Cold Spring Harbor, for people who don't know, probably one of the wealthiest areas in New York.
Yeah, true.
We both, however, grew up very middle class.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing spectacular. But for you, like, I imagine that there might have been a time in like high school where you went, maybe it wasn't in high school, but just growing up, where you had someone make you feel like you had less because they have like helicopters and helipads like on the top of their house.
But I'll never forget it. I was like probably 9 or 10, And he was like, how many vacations do you go on a year? And I was like, well, that's kind of a weird question because sometimes none. What do you mean? Like, what does that mean? And he was like, oh, like, you're not talking monthly? And I was like, what? And it was almost like he was like making me feel bad for not like going to some destination as much as possible, like as if I like wouldn't want to do that if I could. But yeah, so there's definitely people that don't understand the differences and what some people have and what some people don't.
Yeah.
My family had a lot more than a lot of families in the world, but we definitely saw some interesting aspects of that culture.
One of the things I want to touch on is your band / collective 99 Sublime. And
Sure.
Is it true that you guys played a gig at Syracuse and the stairs collapsed in the middle of the party?
Wow, what is this, Nardwar? Yeah, well, like, I definitely am wondering how you know about that, but that is true. Yeah, we played a house show. We played Syracuse a lot when we did a lot of college shows. There was like a 2-year span where we were traveling a lot, especially in New York. But we went to Cuse a lot, and we did have one show where we were like so excited for it, and there was a lot of hype built around it, and it was gonna be our biggest one yet in this crazy like basement party. And like, I think it was probably like 3 songs in, we just look up and there's literally like, you know, like people like dangling, like somebody like hanging on to the level above us, and we're like, oh, there aren't stairs there anymore. And the entire staircase, which was obviously really rickety, just was on the floor. And there were literally people that like, you know, like couldn't get out of the basement at first because they had like just arrived like when the stairs fell, and there was just, it was a mess. How did
people get out of the basement?
So, I guess I take it as a compliment that most of the people that were in the basement already, they stayed for our set, and they like didn't really like care that the stairs fell. But then after we were done, it was like, you know, obviously really crowded in there, and they were like, all right, how the fuck do we get out of here? Like,
gotta call the fire department.
Yeah, well, so if my memory serves correct, I think they put like a kitchen table that they had down there, and people were just jumping on the table and then like being assisted up out of the house.
One of the things I found out was that you did improv in high school.
Yeah. And
you did improv events in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like it was like the school play from what I got.
Yeah, it was
that sounds like terrifying. Like, dude, like improv is like, that's hard. And at least in my opinion, it's hard. Like, that's coming from me. I don't know, take it for what you want. But I heard that you were the guy. People came to see you.
Maybe.
Even getting labeled the improv show, the Jake show.
Oh, wow.
So can you further elaborate, like just kind of pull back the curtain on like what that whole like sequence was, and like just how that became the Jake show?
So, I mean, in my opinion, it never was the Jake show. I mean, it was, so that kind of developed. I did improv all throughout high school with my best friend Mike, and who I'm wondering if you possibly talked to, because I don't know how you would even know about this. So,
hey man, we might have mutual friends. We grew up in like the town next door, you know?
True. It's very possible. High likelihood. Yes, I did it with my best friend Mike, and Mike is by far, like, in my opinion, he was the funniest member of that improv club, and like he used to make fun of me because, like, basically, like, I definitely like to ham it up when I get up there, and like we definitely experienced this thing where we had a lot of kids that were just like, I don't know, like, for lack of a better description, they were just not funny. Like, they just really weren't. Like, you could objectively see that they didn't have a funny bone in their body. Like, that's just how it was. And it was a shame that they were doing improv because they weren't making us laugh. And it just, like, wasn't cool, man. So I would get up and, like, out of frustration, just, like, eat up all the time and just make, like, me and Mike would just make each other laugh. And but it got to the point where, like, I developed enough characters and did enough skits that ended up going on to the final show, like our showcase. And so, like, I was definitely in, like, a majority of them. So, like, to this day, my friend will be like, everything's the Jake show. It's always about Jake, isn't it? Like, sort of, like, fake resentful, even though he was in all the shit with me. But So that's how that happened. And we did, the way it worked is you did it like, it was like Saturday Night Live.
Right.
In front of your school.
That's a great segue, because what I wanted to ask on top of that was, with the improv skits that you did, was there any one that stuck out to you as like, man, that was like actually really funny, and you would want to pitch to SNL?
Wow. That's interesting. I think I had one character that was like an elderly, like your classic like elderly like Jewish grandma, but she was a therapist. So she was like, and her name was Hilda Dorothy Rosenzweig, and she was just like a really terrible therapist and only would talk about her daughter Jewel mostly, like. So like the person that she was, like listening to would tell them about their problems, and then she would like relate it back to some insignificant moment with her daughter, like getting a nose piercing that she wasn't happy about. That got a really big reaction from the crowd. Like I'll never forget that. So like I guess just judging by crowd reaction, I might pitch that one.
Hilda,
the
goat.
Yeah, Hilda the goat. That's a new MC actually. Yeah, that's my new artist name.
If you guys haven't figured out yet, Jack is a very charismatic dude. He definitely brings a personality, and I think you bring your personality out very well on your Twitter page. So I want to ask you some tweets that you've posted, and I want you to just tell me what they were about, where the inspiration came from.
This is terrifying. This is terrifying.
Okay, one second.
No worries. I'm happy to wait as long as possible to talk about these tweets.
All the fans around the country/world around always telling me I have big things coming. Meanwhile, I'm over here sore and exhausted from cooking in a short order kitchen all day. In summation, I make a mean omelet and hope they write.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
Ever since I released the EP, I've been getting a lot of like really, really kind feedback and just comments from people that are like, saying things like, like I'm a true fan of yours, and like I get a lot of like keep pushing. I get that message a lot. Keep pushing. I don't know what that means. I'm pushing. I'm already pushing, man. I promise. But like, sometimes I'm reading these messages like literally while I'm working my day job, and it's just like the funniest juxtaposition you could experience, like in your everyday life, which is like, which is working at a cafe.
It's almost like you're living two different lives,
Absolutely. There's a social media life and a life that your fans see, and then there's a life that you're living trying to make money.
Yeah.
On top of music.
Yeah.
I definitely have been like making an omelet and like thinking about something someone said to me, and I'm like, yeah, sure hope that comes soon. You know what you're talking about.
The title of my autobiography shall be, Believe It or Not, I'm Not Stoned Right Now.
Yeah.
Explain that.
I had like a boss when I was like 20 that thought I was just coming into work high every day, and I'm like, no dude, I'm just in my head. Like that's like I don't need to do anything. What you need to do to be stoned, I just need to wake up. Like that's how I feel. Like that's what I would say. So believe it or not, I'm not stoned. That's
setting the record straight.
Yeah, for sure.
So the last question.
All right,
tell everyone what you got going on.
All right, I got a couple things going on. I have 2 songs about 3 people. That's coming out on July 25th. So it'll be out by the time you're watching this, I'm guessing. So listen to that. There's 2 songs on it called Jenny and Patty and Lucy, and they're both really near and dear to my heart. They're about people in my life that influenced me in positive ways. So we're about spreading positivity to the youth. Jack Lizard's for the kids, remember that. And I got a show at Elsewhere on the Rooftop on August 15th with my friends Poetic Thrust. We're headlining that. Should be a really good time. And besides that, man, I'm going into the studio a lot now and making new music for y'all to listen to, hopefully as soon as possible. That's what I got going on. Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Jack.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.